Just said the biggest increases, growing by 4.4 percentage points to nearly 11% at a national level. That means 44 red seats in Parliament. It's now the official opposition in 3 provinces, Mpumalanga, the Northwest and Limpopo. To discuss, we're joined by the EFF's National Election spokesperson, Veronica Mente. Veronica, thank you for being with us. This is big growth, but you had even higher hopes, talking about huge, massive victories. Where does this leave the EFF?
Good evening and thank you for having me. We are grateful to South Africans who chose the emancipation movement and set us to advance their problems and the oppression that they are under the ANC government. So where does this leave us currently is in a position where we have to go and push much harder from Parliament to all legislatures. But you would understand that now the message is clear to say, go and stop the corruption, go and get the land, go and create jobs that are sustainable for South Africans. That's the message we are getting from the people. Even though we're not in government, but we know with the experience that we had in the past 5 years that we do things, how we make things happen, we do the things that the ANC doesn't want to do, and we push it to a point where it commits to do service delivery the proper way it should be and stop the corruption.
Well, with 44 seats in Parliament, are you going to push the land issue? Is that your priority? Because I was speaking to an analyst earlier. It does seem like the land issue actually took a back seat as we got closer and closer to the polls.
No, the land issue did not take the back seat, not in any point. But then the fact that it was elections and everything, simply because Parliament had to close down. And the only platform where the land has to be advanced and realized in terms of changing the Section 25 is only Parliament, which we had to stop the processes of Parliament to campaign and do everything else outside. However, the question of land is still priority. The moment we get back to Parliament, we get sworn in, Cabinet is decided, and committees have got chairpersons, the issue of land is coming back and is on the agenda.
Are you concerned at all that while your party on the left is growing, so is another party on the right, the EFF Plus? Maybe those are people feeling scared because of your stance on land expropriation without compensation?
No, we're not worried at all. The EFF Plus, I'm sure by now it has reached the ceiling. You must remember that its constituency is minority of this country, and the only people that do not want the land to be expropriated without compensation. And therefore, their numbers do not scare us. Their numbers don't really mean anything because the 2/3 majority that Parliament requires in order to pass the legislation does not include them. So they are not the deciding factor when it comes to Parliament business. And therefore, even in constituencies, they cannot influence anything besides their own constituency. Therefore, their numbers don't really mean anything to us. The only concern we have is that black people did not go out to vote. And of course, we understand they did not go out to vote because they are angry at service delivery. And now the belief is that any other black government that is going to take over is going to be corrupt since the ANC has done all those wrong things to them. Yeah. They've never provided proper service delivery. And you have seen how they engineered the protest in Alexandra and everything, trying to portray the DA government in Gauteng that it did not provide houses, it did not live up to its promises, as if those are the promises of the municipalities, even though the mandate is a national mandate, which is ANC government is the one in charge, like in the Ministry of Housing and all those things. So the people are now angry. We need to embark on clarity-seeking questions, and we need to embark on talking to communities and explaining to them who is responsible for what and how do they have to trust any other person besides the ANC.
So you're talking about the significant decline in turnout, but also young people, the people that the EFF tries to appeal to, and certainly you're very active in universities, etc. Half of them didn't even register, never mind vote. What does that mean for you?
That one is actually correct. And also it's simply because of the anger that they have, and they are actually now taking out the anger on the wrong people, because they were promised free education. They ended up sleeping in bathrooms and sleeping in libraries and sleeping on the streets, simply because the free education that they were promised did not come forth. And therefore, they don't trust any other person. They think they can survive on their own. That is why I say we need to embark and intensify some kind of education, and why is voting important, especially for a young person. Because for them to realize the dream of free education from 3 years of ECD to a first degree actually needs their voice, which is their X. You can speak, you can protest, you can do everything else, but if you don't put your X next to the person you think they can provide you what you require, then you are not doing any good for yourself. You are not bringing change for any other person, even the generation to come after you.
Veronica, final question. There's been an incident since the elections. The South African comedian in America, Trevor Noah, comparing your leader, Julius Malema, to the US President Donald Trump, looking at his treatment of journalists. I looked at the backlash on Twitter, and it's often the same. EFF leaders attack anyone who criticizes them. What would you say to those who are really concerned that your party is growing, but you seem very thin-skinned? You seem to be veering away from a history of political tolerance.
You know, there's one thing South Africans, they must get used to. That us, this generation which is leading the country right now, not the old people that are leading us. We are a very angry generation. You must understand that our mission and the vision is not the same mission and the vision that they fought for. They went to other countries outside. They went to Robben Island. They did all those things. They fought for us. They gained the political freedom. We are looking for economic freedom. We are angry because we are living in shame. And therefore, we say things as they are. We do not try and tiptoe around issues that are burning in South Africa. We don't tiptoe around the honest truth. And therefore, the president speaks for the people and say the frustrations of the people, the concerns of the people as they are. We don't wait for people to die to tell them, to say beautiful things about them. We tell things that as they are, and we tell people what they don't want to hear. So
Right.
for the comedian Trevor to do what he did, we don't see anything wrong for him to be using all the speeches. The president says what he has to say, and that's the truth, and it's the honest truth. But to compare him to Donald Trump, that's something else. He's nothing like Donald Trump.
All right. Thank you very much.
Donald Trump is an abusive president in his own, and he doesn't care about the people. He doesn't care about the next person. He cannot compare him to Donald Trump. He's nothing like Donald Trump.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. That was the EFF's National Election Spokesperson, Veronica Mente.